check if they have the book, and the Obama book is already is available.
Which one are you reading? The one, the recent
first
one,
one.
or the oddest? Oh,
No, this is the
from
first one.
first
Letters
one.
from My Father or something like that.
Yeah, I heard that one was
Yeah.
really good. I have the Audacity Pope one that I told you. So what I'm trying to do now, before I buy any additional books, except for the two you two recommended, I'm gonna read the books that I have here that I didn't finish, or I felt like, okay, I didn't read cover to cover. So that way I'll probably end up reading probably more like 40, 50 books this year. When it
Yeah,
looks like
I'm really into the whole autobiography, like the whole Issa Rae. I want to get into Obama. I
yeah,
already
you told
read
me about that
Michelle.
one.
Yeah, I'm really getting into autobiography. So I'm gonna kind of go down my list of people that I want to read
That's why I
about.
started reading more fiction books, because essentially what I realized is like as a kid, um
And then this is how we start. Cold open yet again. Yet again. Like everybody just forgets that we're actually having a conversation here. Yes. Thanks again for joining us at the Financial Griot. I'm one of your hosts, Lawrence Delva Gonzalez, otherwise known as the Neighborhood Finance Guy. I'm joined by my other two co-hosts who have been in a deep conversation about the books that they're reading. And Alana is getting glammed up and looking cute to go to the library. Yet again, this is a reason why she goes find her man. She could get a date in under 30 days. Why? Because she just glams up to wherever she's going. Grocery shopping, glam up. Nursing home, glam up. You know, hey, you never know who's gonna be the sugar daddy out here in these streets. Like the library, glam up.
Like now that I think about it, I'm not sure I'm bringing the nieces if I'm gonna be glammed up like that. Maybe I should.
The
first
okay.
time, maybe
the
I
strategy.
should just go by myself. And
yeah, because they were like, oh, you have kids,
right? Because it's near downtown, and I just know once they get downtown, they're gonna want ice cream. They're gonna want to do them.
Just let the kids, suffer at home, huh? Because you need to just be out there in the streets.
the first time, I'll take them the next time. But I got my outfit laid out. I'm like, let me be cute.
Yeah, and they look like you, so they were like, that's her child. Even if she tried to deny it, I'm the aunt. They're like, are you denying your own kids? So this episode is going to be all about our book recommendations, because we actually pivoted into this one very cool moment where everybody's reading a lot more. And yeah, I'm gonna let you ladies kind of like spearhead it. Like, what's your favorite books, or where you guys are going with this? Why are you going to the library, Atlanta? What's going on with that?
So I am going to the library because your girl has too many books in her Amazon cart, and it costs too much, honestly. So what I've been doing a little bit of cross references to see what books is available at the public library. And I realized since I moved from Boynton Beach, South Florida, to Northern Florida, which is West Palm, I don't have an actual West Palm Beach library card. I only have a Boynton Beach library card. So I'm like, okay, let me just get me a West Palm Beach library card at the main library here. So I fill out the application. I got my proof of residency and location. So I'm just ready. I have my day plan, library, get my library card, get me some books, and later on meet up with my best friend for the movies. So I really want to spend more time at the library. I want to make sure that I'm reading a lot. And started off the new year, I'm almost done with this book. It's the Misadventure of the Awkward Black Girl, which is the I guess autobiography of Issa Rae. And if you don't know Issa Rae, she is a writer, producer, director of the Awkward Black Girl, which was a web series she had on YouTube, and it blew up pretty fast, got popular, and she got a deal with HBO, where she created the popular series called Insecure. Insecure has now ended season 5, and we're all just like devastated. I'm devastated because I grew up with Insecure. But her story is amazing. She is from Africa, Senegalese, if I'm pronouncing that right, Senegal. And
Senegalese, if you want to kind of get really Senegalese, if you want to kind of get francophone with it, but Senegalese is actually fine.
Okay, yeah. So she has an amazing story, and that really kind of it really kind of inspired me to read more autobiographies of people that I have seen evolve, or people that I am looking into to be more like in terms of their worth ethic, in terms of their creativity and what they have done for the world, the impact they have made, right? Knowing that she created a web series of the misadventure of the awkward black girl, she never knew it would get this big, and ultimately creating Insecure that had such a global impact culturally, pop cultures, normalizing black people in such a beautiful way. And yeah, so I'm doing more reading now. And my next book, I'm almost done with this book. And my next book is Letters from My Father, which is Obama' first book before he became senator and before he took on the presidency. So I'm trying to read out here. Look cute while I'm doing it too. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? I'll let you know, nerds out here looking really cute.
I'm the only one that's not blind here because everybody else seems to wear glasses. You wear glasses to read, Atlanta? Yeah.
I have 2020. This is more of the.
Oh, okay. You're just trying to get the nerds. Okay, I see. I see.
This is more for the Karen, the computer screen, everything's
The
kind of
blue
protect my
screen.
eyes. Yeah, yeah, for sensitivity and stuff,
Yeah.
because I'm always on the computer from work and from the podcast and stuff. But yeah, I received LASIK back in 2014. My first few months in South Korea, I received LASIK, so I have perfect vision actually.
I want to actually get
So
LASIK as one of my goals.
do it. It's a great
Yeah, 'cause I'm
to wake
tired.
up.
I'm tired. I'm nearsighted, so I can read without glasses, but I can't see far, and I'm tired.
Same. So the earliest you get it, the longer you have it, because it does, as you age, your vision
Yeah.
will ultimately age.
So it's
with you.
actually something that I want to I'm adding on my 2022, late 2022, early 2023
Get it.
list. Yeah, I have so much that's got going on. When y'all see me in 20, like at 33 or 34, you'll be like, the hell, she don't even look the
You should
same.
go to South Korea and get it. Maybe I should come to South Korea with you.
Really?
It's much
Oh,
cheaper in South
shoot. She's
Korea.
like, hey, she's like, I want to go with you. Like this out of nowhere. I'm just gonna go to South Korea.
I still got some friends that's still there. Maybe you should.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, maybe you should
Yeah, a
go
lot
to
of
South Korea.
medical travel is actually a big business too. It's really good.
Well, put me on the side note. We need to do a group chat about this.
Yeah, let me see if I can find. It should be in my email. If I can find the off.
Do we lose you?
Nah, we're gonna keep losing her, but it's all good. Lovely. What are you reading nowadays?
Can you guys hear
me?
me?
I get you. I get you. Well, we're ignoring you as you get your better Wi-Fi on. How about that? How about you get you? All right. How about you pay for the Wi-Fi? How about you do that?
How about HOA upgrade on better Wi-Fi?
You know,
man.
Lovely. What's up? What books are you reading? What are you getting into this season?
So I told you and Alana that I was reading more, so adding more fiction to my list. And because I read a lot of business books, I probably read a business book every 2 weeks, to be honest with you, via my Kindle, my Amazon Kindle. Because when you have a Prime, you literally have these Prime readings, and I'm always like reading a random business book, learning and all this other stuff. But I want to be more fiction because I used to read a lot when I was younger. And so right now, Colleen, not everybody, super viral. Her books went super viral in the last year or so on TikTok, and she has a book called It Ends With Us. I just literally finished that. It took me like 2 days to finish it, and it was really it's a really powerful story. And one of the things that she talks about was essentially making this, love story a learning lesson in the process. And so I've been reading her book, and it was really good. I'm going to add another book. She has another book called November 9 that I want to add to my list, or An Ugly Love. So I want to add some of these fiction books to my repertoire. And I'm reading a Little Fires Everywhere, which is actually a show on Hulu, I believe, that people really love that one. So it's on my desk. And The Vanishing Half is another book that I'm adding to my fiction. And of course, I'm reading all these business books about learning, it's like something about humans, something selling to humans. I can't remember who it is. I also want to read David versus Goliath, which is like another business book about like the big companies versus small companies and how small companies often
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my favorite authors. Yeah.
There's another one called
He also one of my favorite books is Tipping Point Insider. outsider, insider, outsider.
The
Yeah,
Outlier.
he is incredible. Outlier. Yeah,
Yeah.
outlier.
I want to
He's
read a few of his
incredible.
books. Yeah. So it's really a mix for me, like a mixed bag of I always usually read the personal development and business books. But this year I'm like, no, to explore, to open up my, imagination. And I used to do that so much. I used to read books like food when I was a child in middle school and high school. And just to see like right now, because of life, I gotta focus on growth. But honestly, you guys don't know this, but I literally was in acting and music when I was in high school. And my teacher at the time literally told me, like, you could actually you're actually a great actress. And I was like, what? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I never thought I would do these things. And he was just like, yeah. And essentially one time that there was a poem that I wrote that was really, really powerful essentially to him. And he sent it into this contest and I did like win the contest. And at the time, George Bush was the president. So he wrote me, I know it wasn't him writing the letter, but you know how that is, the little official White House ones, and it won this award. And
wow, you got a commendation out here in these streets? What's up? Look at that, like low key out here, 1, gentrifier, 2, living rich, and 3, getting privileged accolades.
Yeah.
You're a Republican. We love it.
No.
Like closet Republican, you giving closet Republican energy
it's
right
okay.
now.
We diversify.
Don't listen to them. Listeners, don't listen to them. They lying on me. So I had a gift for the arts, and essentially I never really tap into it because guess what? Do you think you're going to tell your Haitian mom that, oh, I want to get into like this thing called acting and writing and doing these things? However, it sparked me because I used to actually write fiction stories. It was one of the most cathartic things that I could do when I was in dark places. And my friend would read it. She's like, you actually have a great storytelling gift here. And so I'm looking back and I'm like, dang, this is sparking this area of my brain that I've neglected because I've been, in a technical company teaching tech people and doing all this stuff and learning and development and consulting and, in spreadsheets. But I realized that I'm a very creative person, a storyteller. I love to write. I'm actually going to write a book, not only about my personal journeys, but I'm going to actually write a fiction story. And whatever that goes, I'm literally in the place of my life where I'm not limiting God of how my story is going to unfold. And rereading fiction books really sparked that in me, that creativity. And so when I think about speaking at the event that I'm hosting, I'm really thinking about how to tell a dynamic story so that people can have those moments of like, okay, it's clicking for me beyond just like, okay, I know I need to read my spreadsheets, because spreadsheets are not going to motivate you to do what you need to do in life, right? So I can tell people about all the business tips, but it's the story that matters. It's really bringing it together. People don't understand how strong Apple's brand is, right? It's strong because of the stories they tell. It's strong because of the emotional connection people feel when they buy their products. And reading allows you to explore reading allows you to go to places that you cannot afford yet to go to. It opens up this place of imagination. And so I'm excited to be reading again. As you can tell, like I'm full on rant, but I'm super excited to read. It's really motivating me because I'm like, oh yeah, I remember all these things. And I want to be able to use these giftings, and it's not too late to tap into them. So,
but whenever you want to send some books down my way, I would really appreciate it. Help a sister out.
I will. Like my little cousin, when she just sent me last night, she sent me her list of books, and she's like, "Yeah, when I have money, I'll go ahead." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll buy you if you want them. I'll send them through Amazon to the house for you." I'll surprise her every so often. She's an honor roll student. She's doing really, really well. So what I'm going to start doing is like every so often, I'm going to just, randomly send her a book because she wants to read like 24 books in a year. So it's like, okay, I'll definitely support you on your journey of reading. And reading is good. And another thing, Lawrence, I don't know if Lawrence hadn't mentioned it. Audible. Like, it's a real good thing. Like, you don't have to necessarily be the person reading books like through cover to cover. I personally love that aspect, but there's certain books, like the Will Smith book is on the top list. I want to actually read it and also listen to the audio. They've given him really good reviews. Using the Audible, like if you're not necessarily somebody that's gonna sit down and read, listen to the Audible. It's amazing. So do what you have to do. I think reading is so important. It's explores, opens your mind. Read blogs, read newspapers, wherever your reading is, but enjoy it.
I will say for just a tip, if you have credit cards, because I haven't really been reading the actual rewards within my credit cards. So I've been Amex holder almost like 6 years now, and my Amex. One of my Amex cards have a 6 month trial free for Audible, and I remember, remember I shared screen. I mean, I screenshot and sent to you. I'm like, I didn't know this. So really,
Not even
explore.
just, I'm gonna say not even just that. Your Amex Platinum, if you have the Platinum, right?
Isn't it
No,
through Navy?
I have the blue.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's unfortunate. But for
No, no,
Amex
hey,
Platinum,
hey,
or
hey, don't do that to
for
me. We're
Amex
not doing that
Platinum,
this year because
for
they gave me more points than
hey,
you.
hey,
I could have
you
got
don't
more
have the
points than you.
benefits. You
I'm
don't
just
have
saying.
for Amex Platinum members, you can't you actually do get an opportunity to get Audible and for free the entire time. So you actually start off with Audible and you pay for it directly, and they do a reimbursement towards you. So you're always getting these at least one book credit a month. And I think they even start you off with like 2 book credit. That's just Audible, just the way they kind of hook you in. And
Yeah.
I'm to the point in my lifetime as well that I'm like, yo, I don't care for any gifts. Like, just send me an Audible credit is actually worth more than gold for me. I was never one of those readers, like Lovely stated. I've never been big on just this sitting down reading it. I found it to be a kinetically empty activity. That means I'm not moving around. I'm not getting a lot of joy from this. Some people kind of could fall into like the subconscious mind. They fall into the world and all that stuff. I'm not one of those people. I'm very quick on the draw. I believe that every book can be narrowed down to maybe 3 chapters. That's the way I process it. But I found Audible to be something a little bit more enriching, because I'm the type of learner that is both auditory, visual, and also kinetic. And the combination of all three would be amazing. But even getting 2 of them is on point. So the auditory, I get that from on Audible, from reading all these different books on there, and also get the visuals from, especially on YouTube, where there's people that actually discuss books, and I get to once see it first, and then I actually find a book on Audible, and then kind of get into a little bit more. So I'm loving this like circular, movement, which is the kinetic part, in which I'm actually finding a lot of joy from. That the people that I actually listen to all the time is Book Insights podcast. It's amazing. The delivery is dope, and they also have not just a summary, but they'll do an extra episode where they actually bring in different guests. So they do like a review with 2 of them, as well as the guests. So it's like a real interesting conversation, and I love those. Like, you could find me on those all the time. For me in this season, unlike Lovely, who likes more fiction, I like that nonfiction financial stuff. You give me that stuff, that's where I dive in, because I like to judge the content, judge where it's going, trying to figure out what I could do better in my own life and actually use it. And I found, like, in this last couple ones, my top 3 books, Atomic Habits on point, is super good. The 12-week year, like, I'm sitting there, like, every time he drops another statement, like, this is fire. I need to, while I'm biking, I'm like, I need to go write this down. I'm like, no, you got to keep biking though. It's like, so it's like a problem. So it's like, it's interesting to know. And I've dove into deep work as well, and a few other titles, but I'm not going to, kind of break out an entire list. One, I'm actually going to be featuring them on my website, www.theneighborhoodfinanceguy.com, where I share it to you all the time, what I think is probably some of the best stuff. And ultimately, I just want people to understand that reading just Facebook all the time is not the only book in the world. So yeah, I want y'all to kind of step away from the Facebook, step away from Netflix, become more of the creators of information, or even tap in a little bit closer to the people that created these frameworks, right? Listening to the people that actually wrote these books, listening to their perspectives, and really learning a little bit more. To Lovely's point as well, I think the Haitian community or the Black community doesn't really embrace reading as much as we should be embracing reading, especially for all the literary greats that we do have. The people have dropped some of the most profound media out there, from Frederick Douglass all the way to Zoe Neale Hurston. Like, these are like great reads, period, that's really revolutionized the world. And I don't think we do ourselves a disservice by not really tapping into the spoken word, or even like the way that we do, what we're doing right now, which is the griot, sharing our information, our stories, and our ideas in a way that's a little bit more kinetic. A friend of mine, Caroline Renard, well, not really a friend, like close friend, it's kind of people like, from FSU. ended up going to the medium of writing, and now she's actually writing for Disney Plus. So she's being featured, like when you see the credit, it says written by, her name pops up.
One of those. Yeah.
I'm like, this is what's up, man. This is great. And I don't think we get a lot of that, especially in the Haitian community. Our parents are pushing us to be, professionals, doctors, lawyers, accountants, so on and so forth, because they just want to make sure that we're well taken care of and getting, money, and we're building families and communities. They want that for us, but sometimes they limit our options and they forget that there's a creative side to us that also needs to be fed. The fact that you guys are thespians, as they say, out there in these streets as actresses, thespians. I don't even know how to say that. Thes. Hey, English is my third language, so say it. Thespians. That's weird to say. But I actually did a little bit of that when I was a kid too. And I was actually pretty good at it, but nobody was there to support me. They're like, boo, it's trash. It's not school. Boo, it's trash.
I know. Well, I used to know the entire Macbeth playwright and everything.
Oh, I thought it was the Maybach music out here. The entire Maybach music catalog. That's what you used to know, like Rick Ross. Maybach music.
It's interesting that you brought up the creativity in our community, because I think we inherently have this creativity in us that we don't explore enough of. When you think about creators right now in the social media space, we really are the originators, right? I know there have been a whole debacle about TikTok creators, Black creators versus white creators. And once a dance come out, it doesn't really hit viral until, well, give and take, until another white influencer do it, or that popularity. So it's a little mixed in those opinions, but you have to realize we are the originator when it comes to coolness, creativity. When it comes to pop culture, we revolutionize what's cool, and we actually place emphasis on what is good for us in a creative space. And I think for me, reading Issa Rae's story, and she comes from a grounded African culture and background. Her father was actually a doctor, was a doctor, and they fed her that she had to be a lawyer, a doctor, like some kind of profession, and she chose a different route. And with that, she's seen, and it kind of like expose herself to creativity. She was in the midst of all the social media before it became this huge thing, but pop culture was really her her outlet, creative outlet, because she grew up with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She grew up watching, the Cosby Show. And when she realized as time progressed, she didn't see enough of us in this humanized form in everyday life. And that's what we were missing. So she decided to create something to fill in that gap, to show us in these light, like we are human. And it was just this one lens that Hollywood was only placing us as, and forgetting us that we're all these different aspects within the Black culture. So we have this creativity within us. It's only us to kind of explore and discover. And I think we alluded this topic before in previous episodes, about if you're interested in creative things, or anime, or anything, or skateboard, anything that may not be quote unquote popular within Black culture, still do it, because more likely than not, there's others who look just like you who are interested in those things. And that's where you create your network of people that feed into you. And I think that's where the blurred lines comes, is a lot of times we're not surrounded, or we're not in those environments that people that look like us, who are interested in the things that we're interested in. And sometimes you have to go in these routes alone, but don't necessarily means that you are really alone. There's people that want to hear your stories, people that want to hear your perspective.
Your tribe will essentially start to show when you show yourself. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, like you're saying, like, be okay. And I want to kind of circle back to something that you said about the white creators versus the Black creators. One of the biggest things that we need to realize is that if you don't get paid what you don't ask. So I'm actually in this influencer community right now because I want to learn the business side of an influencer. And one of the things that the lady, she's kind of like been a broker of deals between all the influencers and brands. And she said, She had a $10,000 budget for a campaign, and the Black influencer literally asked for like 2,500, and the white influencer asked for 15,000. And so she ended up accepting the 10,000 or whatever, negotiated down or whatever to 10,000. But a Black influencer only asked for 2,500. So the question is, do we see our own value? Sometimes it's going to be saying no to a couple of brand deals. It's going to be saying no to a couple of things, because I know that Issa just sound like an 8-figure deal with HBO essentially. So her creativity unlocked financial gains for her. And I think there has to be some business acumen, because you don't get a deal like that just because you're nice or you're good. You get a deal like that because you negotiated, you stand up for yourself, and you provide value, and you know who you are. I think something that we always talk about is sometimes we're so caught up in the hype of being known, or we've created something and people know us, that we don't think about the financial upside of that. This is also intellectual property. I think about all the courses that I'm creating. One thing that I'm working on with a lawyer is making sure that we have, like, you know, these are IPs. Like me writing out a program for business owners as continuing education is an IP. I could literally sell this course to Harvard if I want to, if I can prove that what I'm doing, my case studies are going to be amazing in the long run. I'm thinking about it from a, not just a creating process, but how do I leverage my IP in the, like, you know, beyond just this one moment. We need to think about that, because Harvard hires people. Like Harvard hires some of the CMOs of some of the best companies to come and teach lecture classes because they've accumulated success. We need to start thinking, like, if I build a company that's 50 million, 40, 30, 50 million, I can literally take my IPs and sell that, or be in a part of using that to expand my financial wealth. But I think sometimes we're just so stuck on being like, yeah, we created it, not thinking like, how do we create it and also have equity and own it? And I think we need to merge those two things together. Like, we're great. Yeah, we are the people that make things popular. How do you capitalize on it? How do you stick up for yourself? What is the business acumen that it takes for you to, you know, really own these words? Like Kim Kardashian, there's certain things she does. You don't see that trademark being signed up 2 seconds to make sure that what she does is not, people can say she's appropriating it, but she's actually making sure that she owns it, and we're not. So we need to have those type of conversations. It's like, yes, creativity is free and work, all these things, but we do have to think through, how do we own their ownership part of creativity? And so I land right there, as they would say on Clubhouse.
No, that was great.
Yeah, so read. I know we spent a whole time. That's not what the podcast is supposed to be about. But
Yeah,
hey,
it was about reading.
That was the
creativity.
entire podcast. That's exactly what it's all about. It's reading, getting around the creative space, and becoming, sometimes not even just becoming the reader, but writing our own stories as well, because they matter. And those are the stories that other people will read. So even to the point where this podcast, at some point, somebody's going to listen to it, and is going to read something into their spirit, into their mind, into their lifestyle, that's going to change them fundamentally. It's going to give them something to think about, move about, and maybe it's going to inspire them to read some of the books that we mentioned today. And those books are going to click something within them. That's the goal. And I think that's where I'm at in this stage of my life, that I'm tired of listening to a lot of people that aren't doing what I want to do, ultimately where I want to go. So it's kind of like when you see like a room or like a conversation with a lot of single people giving marriage or relationship advice. I'm like, but you've been single the entire time. When's the last time you even had a date? You're out here trying to give people, like what do you call it? Trying to give people opinions or recommendations. But I'm like, you haven't been in a relationship. You haven't been married.
Advice.
Oh yeah, straight up. I'm like, you haven't done these things, but you're there in front of everybody's face trying to tell them what to do, what not to do. And I don't want to be in that space anymore. I want to be in a place where people are more so they're thinking differently. They're moving forward. And I'm really cutting off. When I mean, like, I'm cut off people. The moment you say something weird, I'm cutting you off, because I know you're not in the same space. There's something that I got, and I snapshotted it, and I'm probably going to post it on my social media one day. And I'm actually going to read it for you guys just shortly when I kind of bring it back up. Okay. This girl, Janice, who runs a Yo Quiero Dinero podcast, she wrote on her Twitter. Yeah, hey, I shout people out. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I thought it was bad. Never mind.
Oh, shoot. Wow. Yo Quiero Dinero? I thought I had that, but it's cool.
No, I thought the subject matter. Go ahead, Lo.
Okay. She said, let me tell you something you're not going to like, right? It's like when somebody gives you sound advice and your first inkling is to respond with, yeah, but ... The problem is you, sis. The problem is you. So it's one of those scenarios where everybody, like, the first time I give somebody an advice and they say, oh, but whatever. I'm like, I can't have this conversation with you anymore. I can't convince you to do something that is beneficial for you. I can't convince you to read. I can only recommend that it's been beneficial for me. And that is all. If you're going to say, but, well, I can't afford it. You just heard from Alana that she's going to the library. If you can't afford the Audible, you know, the library also has an Audible thing that they have. Forget what they call that, but they have that subscription as well. So there's ways that you can get access to data at all points. And even on YouTube, if you don't have access to Audible, you could likely Google your favorite literary book and the entire summary. For some reason, somebody copied the hell out of it, put it on YouTube, and you can actually listen to it directly. All these things are free and accessible to you. There is almost no excuse to move away from the toxicity, to move away from the endless same conversation that you have all day, every day. There's no excuse not to let go, because then you're going to say, well, I don't have the time. But last time I remember, you logged in 8 hours on some Netflix binging. So obviously there is time that you could find. It could happen, but it's ultimately something up to you.
Triggered.
I'll be in there too. I'll be like sitting sideways. You know, first you sit up straight, then you sit sideways, and you get real sideways, and then you go get the snack, and you sit even more sideways as you watch.
Oh, did that message come up? Are you still watching?
They're like, the nerves of you, of course. Next, like, let's go. So there are ways to change and pivot our lives, and I'm happy to be in this space now that I'm picking up a lot more books. And maybe, you know, fictions are not your thing. Maybe Jane Eyre is not your thing. Maybe reading, you know, about somebody's biography is not your thing, but I'm pretty sure there's some genre in books that you might find very beneficial that might kick in for you. I don't care if you're reading a book of recipes. I do not care. Just grab something other than Facebook. That's why I land for the day. Anybody gonna close this out, or are you just gonna leave it like really messed up? Like, so
we're so messy.
It's like, yo, it's like,
I could have sworn I said my last piece. Like,
okay. Can we kind of give some people? Okay, thanks again for everybody that been tuning in, liking, sharing, subscribe. We always say this, that especially in this time, we're challenging people. The more and more you tune in and feed into us, like you're adding to our reviews, we're gonna do workshops, real workshops that, you know, could go on for like 3 to 4 hours. Like, that's how intensive learning that we get into. We're going to talk about anything from budgeting, investing, tax planning, everything that you think you don't know about and you like to know about. Leave it in the review. Leave us in a comment here and there. Let us know what you want to process through. And that way we can actually start working together as a holistic community of people to really change our finances. Like, I saw a lot of growth in my finances before, during, and now, you know, posting this, like post me reading all these books, I'm really shifting my mind, shifting my vision, my goals, all my things. And you can always find all this stuff on www.theneighborhoodfinanceguy. And you can find me on IG at at the Neighborhood Finance Guy, the entire word, all the way through, no spaces. Do not mess this up. And I'm gonna pass it over to my co-host.
Thank you guys for tuning in once again to TFG. You can find me, Alanta, on IG, same handle, on YouTube, ALAINTA. And don't forget, guys, really leave those reviews. We really want to hear your feedback, and we take it as, you know, constructive criticism. Is it our mic? Is it someone lagging too long? Like, anything that you feel as though that can better us as a podcast, please let us know. We trying to progress in this season and trying to just overall try to be better people. So thanks again for tuning in.
all righty. Nothing else to add. This is a great episode. Have a good day, good night. Do all the good things that you do. And that's about it. Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast. Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.